Hey there, rock stars. After our last video, wanted to have a follow-up on our mystery rock here. After we found that small geode, that small void in the last episode there, I wanted to take a closer look at this rock because there's very likely something else hiding inside that we can take a look at there. While I was investigating and doing a little bit of research on this rock, it was brought to my attention by one of my followers, Sebastien Rock, pointed out that I misidentified this rock as a agate, and it is not actually an agate. Thank you, Sebastien. It is actually a flint, which is a different kind of cryptocrystalline quartz. But you know, what's the big difference there? And actually, as it turns out, after really investigating the issue, that cryptocrystalline rocks are fairly complicated. There is a lot of them, and they all are slightly different in different ways, but after diving in there a little bit and getting a better understanding, I think I have a better answer there regarding the major differences here. So after doing some digging, I was able to find two main groups of cryptocrystalline quartz: chert and chalcedony. Now, chert type rocks we talked about before, talked quite a bit, especially in regards to the ribbon chert in the Marin headlands. Now, that is a particular type of chert that's formed from the dead bodies of organisms, but that doesn't always have to be the case. The real deciding factor in identifying a chert has to do with its microscopic structure, and in fact how those tiny little crystals are arranged, because chert type rocks, Flint included, are going to have blocky orientations to those minerals, meaning that when you look at it under a microscope, it's not going to have much of an orientation. It's going to be kind of random, and they kind of fit together like a big puzzle piece. Now, chalcedony, on the other hand, which includes agate, is characterized by more of a fibrous texture to those microscopic minerals, meaning that when you look at it under a microscope, they're going to look more like long fibers and are going to be arranged in a more elongate shape. And without a really high-powered, very expensive microscope to be able to look at these rocks under thin section, it's going to be a very difficult thing to really pinpoint certain types of rocks for sure. And that can be kind of complicated. In general, though, what I've found is that the chert type rocks, Flint included, are going to be more opaque, meaning that light isn't going to pass through them as easily, and they're not going to be as translucent as the chalcedony type, which are going to tend to be a little more clear and let light pass a little easier. And again, it's fairly complicated. The way that these rocks have been described have changed over the years, and jasper being a notable example, because jasper is used as a descriptor for any kind of cryptocrystalline quartz that is orange or red in nature. So it can include groups from chert or chalcedony as well, and that's generally a descriptor that isn't used as much anymore, because it doesn't really help to really identify that type of quartz in a really, really good way. So it's fairly complicated. If I can get a really good example of a nice chalcedony type cryptocrystalline quartz, I'd be more than happy to revisit this at a later time, because we have some really good examples of chert and chert type rocks here. But for now, though, I think that we're going to want to take a little bit more of a closer look at this particular piece of flint here and see what other secrets this mystery rock might hold.
That's it for here.
Alright, rock stars, we're just about ready to crack this mystery open even further. But before we do that, remember, you gotta wear your safety glasses just in case. Especially today, because I'm going to be using a chisel to further investigate this rock. The chisel is going to allow for more accuracy than just smacking it with the hammer, so we're going to be a little bit more precise, because I want to make sure that we leave, if there is anything else in here, that we don't completely destroy it. Alright, so we're going to take a look when I get started, probably over somewhere not too important. I hope. Let's take a look. Whoops. Let's try and.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to do it on the table. I just don't think you can hit it hard enough.
Yeah. Ugh. For everyone watching at home, I don't think we have a strong enough chisel either. It's gotten completely flattened.
Alright, go for it.
Pretty much exactly what they are. Alright, enough playing around.
Set it down and just like hit. Come on. That's smashing.
That is a smash. Ooh, check this out. I think we have. Oh, damn.
Over to your camera too.
All right. So the good news is we did smash a big old piece through the rock, and we're able to get a little bit more of a closer look by the geode. The bad news is the way it broke. But that does help us see, so there's the geode there. And then over here, you can see a little bit of the void where it started out, so doesn't look like there's going to be much more of a geode to this rock. Woo! Alrighty. Well, I'd say that is a fairly well smashed rock there, rock stars. You can see it's a really hard rock. I mentioned earlier because flint is same hardness as quartz, which is about a 6 or a 7 on the hardness scale, meaning that this rock is stronger than steel. A point of proof here is our chisel. It didn't do very well. It wasn't a very good tool for the job because it just wasn't strong enough. You may have seen a few sparks go off while I was smashing this rock, and that has to do with the strength of the flint, not the steel itself. You may have heard of certain bushcraft and outdoorsmen talk about using flint and steel to start a fire, and that's something that you can do. What's actually happening there, though, is the flint is so strong, is so hard, it's actually flaking off pieces of the steel, and the iron in the steel reacts with the oxygen in the air, and it combusts, and that's the actual process there, which I didn't know until very recently. I didn't know that's what's going on, and so that's a little bit of info there regarding our flint here. I don't really want to go much further, lest I risk further destroying our geode. I think that we've gotten pretty far into this rock, sufficient enough to find out that there isn't going to be much more of a void here for us to discover. But this is a much nicer, a much smaller piece now that I can put on the shelf and join the rest of my collection. I hope that you enjoyed this Rock Talk, Rock Stars. Hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit more about cryptocrystalline quartz and the different varieties there as well. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Feel free to leave them in the comments section. And as always, remember to smash that subscribe button. Check you next time.
I'll put it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.